So I'm really privileged to have Carla Maree with me today on the podcast for Simply Happy Conversations. Carla Maree is a happiness coach, a speaker, an author, and also a podcast host herself. Welcome to the podcast, Carla.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so nice to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm so grateful for you having me on the show. It's so fun.
No, thank you so much for reaching out and agreeing to come on. So it'd be great if you could start off and tell us something that maybe the audience doesn't know about you.
Probably don't know much about me, but something that a lot of people don't know about me is I'm obsessed with wearing an eye mask when I sleep at night. So I don't know. I wore it once, like just traveling, and I was like, oh my God, this changed my life. Like it's changed my sleep. So now I have a really good blue blocking. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're a company in Melbourne, I think. They're blue blocking glasses and they make blue blocking eye masks, and you put this on your eyes every night. And oh my goodness, sleep is intense after that. So that's probably something a lot of people don't know about me. And I get really paranoid if I haven't got it. I'm like, oh my God, I need my mask. I'm going to sleep. It helps sleep so much.
And is it fluffy or is it smooth? What does it
like it's literally got two goggles. So like it's like you've got these two goggles on your eyes and then it goes around, but it's so that there's no light that comes in. So you're in pitch black. Wow. Yeah. And everyone that I know that has then got that eye mask has like, oh my God, Carla, it's changed my sleep. I'm like, I know. So good.
I'll definitely have to try it out myself and recommend it to people, because they're always asking me for sleep tips after yoga nidra, because that's why people are attracted to coming to the class, is to improve their sleep. So yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. Is there like research behind it?
Yeah, so I had Andy Mant on my show, and he's the founder of the Blue Blocks business. There's a lot of science and research behind it. So, I mean, this expensive eye mask, before that I was buying an eye mask from, Kmart or whatever, $5. This one's about $70.
Okay.
But believe me, so worth it. So worth it. If mine broke today, I'd go and buy another one. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, look him up. It's Blue Blocks, and that's the company. And it's Andy Mant is his name.
I've seen the actual glasses, but I've never taken any notice of the actual sleep eye mask as well. So I will check that out. So tell us about your business and how it started as well.
So yeah, I'll have quite a big journey.
Story.
Yeah, I have such a great, but I left Australia basically when I was 21, wanting to be an actress. This is in a short, long, not light story. Went to New York, lived in New York for studying at acting school. I went to acting school there, and I loved that. And I was always going to be an actress. That was my big goal, and I was going to be the next Nicole Kidman. And then I moved to London, and, the first year I was really plugging into the acting scene. But then a group of my girlfriends from Australia came over to London, and they started staying in my house on my floor.
Dossing.
Dossing, that's what, $5 a night, girls, £5 a night. And then I guess she just went a bit crazy, and I started partying with them. And I had the time of my life. We had about 7 of us living in a 2-bedroom house. And I spent, just partying, backpacking the world. And I had a great time. Anyways, after I saw majority of Europe, and then I did a year backpacking where I did Egypt, Africa, South Africa. I worked in an orphanage in Africa and came back to Australia. Yeah, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was really nervous to come back because I knew that I had changed so much, and I was coming to surprise my parents at their doorstep and in our little hometown. And I was really nervous, but I sort of had made a decision on the plane ride home that I was only going to do things that made me happy. But I didn't know what that was at the time. Did want to still act, but it was sort of pulling me in other directions because of how hard the acting industry is. And I'd sort of in the process done my personal training course. So I was PTing on the side of doing acting. And anyway, it was just so random how it all happened. But my dad was a member of Anytime Fitness, the franchise, the gym franchise. And I couldn't understand it. I was like, what do you mean it's 24/7? Like, it just makes no sense to me. I'd just been, tracking around the world, and it just didn't make sense to me. Anyway, there wasn't one in my local area. And so over, many fights and long conversations, I decided to go into business with my dad and we opened one in our local area. So Woi Woi Anytime Fitness. I've had that now for 10 years. But in that process, like my dad didn't work there. He had his own business. I had sort of made up my mind that I was going to give it everything I could to make this work. I'd never worked in an office. I didn't know how to deal with any office, Excel, any of that, never done any of it. So I was like blown out of my water. But I put my heart and soul into it, and I, really built up that business. But it was in that process where now I can reflect back. I realized that I was on that treadmill of life. I was just plugging away, so unaware that I was, just so focused on this one goal to get this business up and running and to make it successful, that I had forgotten, I guess, who I was and what true happiness means for me. And I had become this really busy person. And my friends started saying to me, "Oh, we just didn't invite you because, you were so busy. You're so busy all the time with work." And I was like, oh, and then that sort of like wasn't my awakening with that. I was just still in the moment and so unaware of it. And I hated yoga at the time. God, I hated it. But my mum was always doing yoga as a little girl. And I was like, no, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I want to run marathons, do all that sort of stuff. And then I was running I think it was the City to Surf maybe. And I was crying my way to the finish line. My knees were really aching. And anyway, the physio I went and saw, he's like, "You've got to start doing something else, Carla. Like, you can't keep doing this to yourself. I suggest yoga." And I was like, "I'm not going back in yoga." Anyway, I dragged myself to a yoga class, and I was laying in Savasana at the end. And I just remember the teacher saying to me, "It's now time to turn off the voices inside your head. And if you don't think you have a voice, then that was a voice that just told you that you haven't got a voice." And I was like, oh my God, I've got a voice inside my head and I'm not the only one. And this was really the big, like for me, I was like, oh shit, what am I listening to? And it started to really, start making me reconsider my mind and what my mind was. And I kept going back to yoga, and I actually then became very into yoga. Now I have my own yoga studio and I teach every day, and yoga has changed my life. But yeah, so that was how much I pretty much got there. And then throughout the process of my own yoga journey and me unraveling my own voices inside my head and having that, awakening, I feel like I became awake to what life is. I started to like really delve into what happiness really is and where happiness comes from and what true happiness is. And I think for so many of us, like myself, at that time, I was caught up in that happiness meant that, I had to get this business up and running, and that if I met that boy and had a baby, I'd be happy. Or if I got that house, I'd be happy. But I discovered that true happiness comes from within ourselves, and we can consciously choose that every day, no matter what's going on in our lives. And as much as life is a journey and there's ups and downs, we are in so much more control than we think we are. So that's sort of the delving into my happiness coaching and speaking, because I just became so passionate about how I lived my life now that I want to share that with as many people as I can. And, I can't believe we live in this society where so many people, are unhappy. We're lonely, we're depressed, there's a lot of anxiety. And if there's one more person that I can help, then, I'm a step closer to my goal.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of that journey to where you are now. So what about the book? How did the book fit into the business, or how did that come about?
Oh, well, it was the same as the podcast. Like, I didn't ever expect to really be doing it. And then someone just mentioned it to me, like with the podcast, that was originally a friend. And she said, "Oh, Carla, what are you really enjoying doing lately?" And I was like, "Oh man, I just love listening to other people's podcasts when I walk my dog along the beach." Like, it was when podcasts really started to come out. I was obsessed. I said, "Oh, I just start smiling down the street." And then she's like, "You'd be really good on a podcast." And I was like, "Oh, well, how do you even do it?" And that was the sort of start of that journey. And then the book was the same. I'm a book addict. I read for an hour a day. I read a book a week. I love reading. Like, I'm a big nerd. And someone just said to me, "Well, Carla, why don't you need to put your story into words." And I was like, I can't write. I can't even spell the difference between there, and there. Like, I'm not a writer. But when someone sort of gives me a little bit of a challenge or starts something inside my mind, I start delving on it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should do a book. And then last year when COVID hit and we had to shut down and, I was like, okay, well, this is an opportunity. And this was my second book, actually. The first book was a bit of an epic fail in terms of I did fly a few years ago to Bali, and I locked myself in a hotel room for 3 weeks and just did yoga and wrote a book. And it was great. And it was really, for me, a wonderful experience, but I didn't get out exactly what I wanted to. I didn't have the right guidance. So this time I had a coach who helped me through guiding through the book and getting it all published and becoming a #1 bestseller. So that was really good. But you've got to learn, don't you?
Oh, definitely. And thanks for sharing that first part, because, everyone sees it's the bestseller, Find Your Happy, but you've just shared the journey. There's always something before that, isn't there?
Oh, totally. And believe me, like everyone says, oh, you got to write another one. I'm like, not right now. No. It's hard work. It's definitely hard work. And for me, because I'm not a natural writer, like it doesn't come naturally for me. I'm a speaker. I love to talk. I love to share that way. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's great. And it's actually like, as much as I love sharing the message with others, it's so awesome to write and just get all like journaling, all this stuff comes up and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize that was going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good. So anyone have a read, and yeah, please let me know your thoughts, because if there is another one, I'm always open to suggestions.
And would you ever release it then as a podcast book?
Well, I've thought about it, but not at the moment. Yeah. Not at the moment. I just don't know if I can sit through speaking it for so long.
Yeah.
Like it takes a long time to read a book.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I'd go crazy. But maybe we'll put it in the maybe, there's always something in my maybe pile.
Yeah. Just being such a natural speaker. And it's interesting how you're speaking, that's what you're acting, but it's really coming through in obviously your speaking as well as your podcast as well.
I love it. Yeah.
And so to share with us then, the audience, about some tips you share or you use even in your own life about happiness and also having that purpose and a sense of smile, like smiling every day. What could we do?
Oh, there's so much we can do. But I think like the first step for everyone is to ask themselves if they are happy, because I think a lot of us think we're happy. You don't want to say that you're not happy, but like, oh yeah, I like my job, but I don't really like my job, or I'm in a relationship, but I'm, it's actually more, dreading than fulfilling. So I think asking ourselves that hard question is number one. If you're not happy in all the areas of your life, what can we do about it? And how can we start to make a change? Because any change needs to happen from a change, So that's where I started. And then I was like, okay, so what can we do every single day? Just one thing even that brings us joy. So I like to ask my clients and people on, whoever I'm speaking to is, and I'll ask you, Narelle, like, what's one thing in your life that makes you smile from the inside out? When you see a little kid and you say, we're going to go to the park, and they're like, oh my God, I'm just so excited to go down the water slide. Like they get so excited. Us adults get so boring. We're like, we're not laughing. We don't laugh. So like, what's one thing in your life that, brings you a lot of joy, where you smile from the inside out?
My kids all the time. There's the things they do and say, and I understand exactly what you're talking about. Even our dog, like just us walking in the room lights her up, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. All I have to do is get my shoes on, and my dog, I've got a little puppy. She's like, oh, we're going for a walk every day. She gets so excited. I always say, I wish I had that much excitement.
Yes.
So then what I'd say is you've listed one thing for your kids. Yeah. So I'd always say to people, list about 4 things and you put a Post-it note and you put it on your fridge. So every day, what can you do today to bring a little bit more joy into your life? So what can you do with your kids, where you've got nothing else going on? You've just got that, conscious connection with them and have a good laugh. Or, for me, one of mine is reading in the sunshine with a coffee. Like I just love to sit in the sun, not today because it's not sunny, but to open a good book. And I never do audiobooks. I love to open the book and highlight it, and a nice cup of coffee. And that brings me joy, So you have a list, and then every day, that you've got to do at least one of those things. And if you're having a bit of a moment in a day, you're like, okay, I've got to bring some joy into my life. What can I do? So it's like an easy toolkit that's just something there that you can do straight away. I love to fake laugh until I make laugh. So you've listened to a few of my podcasts, and I try and make people laugh as well. And I'm more than happy to do it with you guys. But it's scientifically proven that even when we just like smile like this, we start to feel better. So if we just all start smiling, we're going to start to feel better about ourselves and our life. And it's true. So you can just like fake it until you make it. So I often am just like sitting in my office with a pencil in my mouth, and I'm like, do you feel better when you're smiling like
definitely.
that? Yeah. So you can just see it, and then you just have a little laugh. But I go out of my way to do to watch funny things on television if I feel like, I need a good laugh. That Friends reunion that was just on.
It's so funny.
Oh my God, I lost it. I've watched it 4 times. I think it's hilarious.
Great.
So that was really good for my soul. So I search out things that I know are going to be really good for my soul.
Yeah.
We're in lockdown at the moment. So again, last Saturday night, I don't often watch that much TV, but I've, wanted to bring something that was good for my soul. And I watched that movie, Book Club.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen it.
No,
Book Club.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, watch that. It's good for the soul. It made me laugh. It made me really laugh.
Yeah.
So just, really picturing out things in your day that, are going to add more joy. If it is putting on, like my neighbors must think I'm nuts because I put on Spice Girls, the same song every day, wanna be, and I shake it out in my room and I get all dancey and, because I love to dance. So I think it's just really starting to ask yourself, what can you bring more into your life that's going to make you smile?
Yeah.
Favorite foods, like hopefully they're good, healthier options, or moving your body. Like some people love to go to yoga, so making sure that that's number one, because your number one job in life is your happiness. And Narelle, if you're feeling happier, you're going to be so much better to your kids, to your dog, to your partner, so don't feel selfish. Just your number one job in life is your happiness.
Oh, that's a beautiful tip. Beautiful. Yeah. That's so simple, but just that we all need that reminding, don't we?
Yeah, because we all think life's so busy. Like, when do we get so busy? But we're busy doing nothing. Like what? Rushing around telling each other that we're busy. But I hate busy. I hate the word busy. Busy is boring.
Yeah.
I always say we're choosing to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And then, just get out of that. Sometimes it's so easy to get stuck in
language.
Language,
isn't it?
For sure.
Yeah. So what about yoga then? How does that fit into your life?
So because I have a studio, it fits into my life a lot.
But as in personally, like, do you do it like not just work-wise, but
I do it every day.
You do?
Yeah. So this morning I did an Ashtanga practice.
Yeah.
I teach lots of different styles of yoga. So, power is I'm a stronger teacher at the studio, like at my studio for sure, but power, Ashtanga, Bikram, Yin. So we do it all, but I meditate every day. So I'm a meditation teacher as well. But me personally, I meditate twice a day, morning and night. And it's been so nice in COVID because I get to do longer ones.
Yeah.
So there is some benefits in it. But I practice yoga every morning. Just depending on what I feel like, I might do, like this morning an Ashtanga practice. So Mysore I do, or I do power. And then often in the afternoons, I might do a yin class, like for myself, if I'm in COVID, or I love yin. It's so delicious.
So good, isn't it?
Oh, so good. Yeah. I can't believe once I would never have sat down and done yin, because I was the adrenaline, no way, I'm not doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh my God, it's such a treat. And so yoga is a very big part of my life. And I think that for me, when I go through my happiness toolkit, there's a few things that I need to do. Meditate, yoga is definitely there every day. And I love to walk my dog.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah. And I go for a swim in the beach here in Australia, in New South Wales,
yeah.
Mostly every day of the year. So when it's freezing,
it's freezing here all the time. So even in summer, it's pretty cold out there.
It's still cold. And you know what? Every day I go through that. I laugh because every day I go through the same story in my head. Oh, it's too cold. I might give it a quit today. Might not do it today. But I did it yesterday. So why can't I do it today? It's just like this. Yeah. And I've been doing this now for the 3 years throughout winter. And every day I still have the same story. I'm like, oh my God, Carla, when will it get boring? It doesn't. It keeps coming up. So just being conscious of that voice, and then just being, I'm not going to listen to it today.
Yeah, definitely, isn't it? So what about then, how can people find you and the book and your podcast?
Yeah. So everyone, please connect. I'd love to, hear from any of you. But I have my website, Carla Maree Simpson. The podcast is called Get Happy Hour. So you'll find that on all, your podcast channels. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I think that's pretty much it. And I'd love to offer, I am a happiness coach. So happy to offer all your listeners a free happiness coaching session where they just book in and we can go through, how we can start to look at their life and how we can design that to bring a bit more joy and happiness into their lives.
Beautiful. And so out of all of those things, which one do you enjoy the most? Is it the coaching or is it the instructing or it's just the combination of all?
I'm a hybrid.
Yeah.
I'm a hybrid. I couldn't do the same thing every day. Like, I don't know how people, no offense to anyone, but it's not me. I could not sit at the same desk and do the same job every day. So I love that I just switch hats. And because I grew up as an actor, like, people go, how do you go from like being a PT and then going into yoga or, going from a coaching session into that? And I just do it and I love it. I love it. And because it brings something into each. I mean, it is designed so that, I've got time between them and things like that. Yeah. But if I practiced yoga and meditated, I'm going to show up and be such a better coach to you online, So there's a whole thing for it, But if I haven't practiced yoga and I'm all itchy and then I can't, I just feel like I'm not present for the person or for the podcast or for whatever.
Oh, so many similarities. It's not funny.
Yeah. I think majority of people are the same. Yeah. A lot of people aren't aware of it. Yeah, so it's, if you don't go for your run or whatever, for some people it's running, for some people it's swimming, whatever it is, but it's giving that time to yourself so that then you can give to others.
Definitely. We can't pour from an empty cup, can we?
No, and it's not nice to do it anyway. We get resentful and then life becomes this like, oh, I hate it. Where life is so glorious. Like, if you really, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for sharing everything with us, Carla, and making the time to come on today. And I look forward to following you and hearing your next episodes that come out on the podcast.
No, and thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure. And anyone, please connect and take up the, the happiness session, whatever it is, because I just love to help as many people as I can.
Thank you so much, Carla.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.